Hey, today we're going to watch some videos on Section 8 housing. Some of these are absolutely nightmarish, and occasionally I even have a Section 8 person that's trying to get approved for a house, but they can't. Either way, you're going to see a lot of really good videos, so please hit subscribe.
Here we go. Oh my god. Poop, poop. Oh geez Louise. Oh, dead cockroaches frozen to the wall. Oh, big old sling of poop, big old thing of poop. Smeared it on the walls. Check out under there. Who knows what was going on under there. And then, oh lordy. Lordy, y'all ain't seen nothing yet. Poop, 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 wall poop, bathtub poop.
Wow, it looks like a real shitty situation. Apparently, they pooped everywhere but the toilet. That is a nightmare situation. That's got to be the grossest thing ever. He's giving us a visual. I wonder what that house smells like. Probably shit.
Okay, this is 8953 East Marshall. The front door is still intact. The threshold's good. Completely full. Completely full. Bugs, which I did treat already on me, don't worry about it. Completely full. The floors appear to be okay shape. The windows aren't.
Hey, if any of you guys are home investors, right? Tell me what the motivation is here from the landlord's point of view. Are they thinking that, hey, the rent is guaranteed to be paid from the state or federal government, and therefore it's a win-win situation? Because I would just predict that something like this was going to happen to your home. Like I would predict it would happen 90% of the time. If I'm way off and this only happens 10 or 15% of the time, then I guess it's a investment worth taking. But my God, people just ruin your house.
Aren't broken. That's chewed up. Got lots and lots of cockroaches and bed bugs.
So the cockroaches and bed bugs are obviously disgusting, but it doesn't look like the people destroyed the house as much as they were just kind of messy. So this guy looks a lot luckier than the last one. The last one had to be a situation where they purposely did not like their landlord.
Hi, welcome to the apartments I used to work at. How can I help you? Yes, hi. I'm here to look at one of your apartments. I am on Section 8 and wanted to make sure that I qualify. I've got all the paperwork that needs to be filled out and signed, and I think that I will be able to move in very shortly. Great. I've actually just started here, so I'm not too familiar with Section 8. So give me 1 second so I can go ahead and go check with my bosses and make sure we can get everything done, okay? No problem. I'll just sit here and wait for you. Hey boss, so I have somebody out here who has Section 8. She said that she's good to move in within the next week or so. She just wants to go ahead and apply and see one of the apartments so she can see if she can get in really shortly. Oh yeah, we don't take Section 8 here. Okay, I'll just go tell her that. No. You can't tell her we don't take Section 8 because that's illegal. We could get a lawsuit for that. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna go ahead, let her apply and everything. Then once it comes back, we'll just find a reason to decline her.
So that's obviously a horrible situation, but after the houses I just saw, I could totally see where the landlord's coming from.
So you want me to go back out there, do a tour, allow her to apply, allow her to pay the $300 fee online to apply and hold the unit, and then when it comes back, we'll look and find a reason for us to decline her?
Are you telling me that to sign up for an apartment and to apply, it costs 300 bucks nowadays? I remember when it was like 25 or 30 bucks. Do you guys remember the good old days? That sounds crazy.
And while we're on the subject of being inhumane, because that's what I'm seeing from you guys in regards to this young woman who was homeless with her children, and two of her children passed from freezing to death. And I see a lot of women and men in the comments like, well, you know, because her baby daddy came forward being ignorant as hell. Everybody's like, well, it's the mother's responsibility. It's the mom's responsibility. She should have found the home. And it takes two. It is both parents' responsibility. But I think y'all are failing to realize how hard it is to get help, especially when you do not have a support system. Now, we don't know her barriers, but I know system barriers. I know, for one, do y'all know how hard it is to get housing? Do you know how long people wait on waiting lists to get just low income or Section 8? I myself have filled out for Section 8, and I was on the list for 5 years.
So I feel bad for them. What she's talking about is the woman that went on the ninth story of a parking garage at a casino, and two of her children, like a 2-year-old and a 9-year-old, passed away, I guess, due to exposure to the cold. What I don't understand is supposedly there was like 6 or 7 people in that vehicle. You figure they could have huddled up and wore blankets to the point where they at least stayed warm enough to stay alive. It also seems like something where she could have called the police at any time, but at the same time, I don't know the whole story. Don't get mad at me. It's very unfortunate. I don't like the idea of waiting on any list for 5 years. My thinking is that's probably God's way of saying, go a different route.
I'm going to throw my little 2 cents on this 2-year Section 8. 2 years is enough amount of time for you to get a trade. Cosmetology, be an esthetician, plumbing, be a electrician. Those are enough years to establish education in those trades.
But from what I understand, a lot of people wait forever on those lists, just like the previous person was saying. And a lot of times they want the people that are ahead of them to kind of piss and get off the pot, right? Because technically, you're supposed to use this as a way to get out of poverty, not just find a way to stay in it forever. I think that's one we can blame on our politicians. In order for them to get your vote, they always promise you and give you these things that end up being a trap.
I was on the phone with my client from California. He's looking at buying some more Detroit real estate. And so I asked him, do you want a Section 8 tenant? And he went, oh no. So I was like, well, why? You know, I was so curious for real because now I did start in real estate over 20 years ago. My very first tenant was a Section 8 tenant. Now, you know, his story was similar to mine because, baby, the way she left that house, and she didn't even tell us she was moving. The way she left that house, I'm talking about, it was destroyed, like throw it in the trash, destroyed. But, so yeah, his story was similar. He said dogs chewing on windowsills, whole meals going down garbage disposals, problem after problem. He said it's just not worth it.
I agree. It's just not worth it. I guess that's the thing that's so irritating is these programs are designed to help people, and people that get stuff for free, they just don't have any skin in the game, and they're never going to care about other people's things. I think it's a problem where instead of looking for the world to change everyone's problems, we need people to start working on the man and woman in the mirror. I can't believe with all the poverty people deal with, that there's people that'll actually go into your home, get in there for practically nothing compared to what other people have to pay their bills, and then they have the nerve to just destroy your home. And it's evidently it happens all the time.
I'm back. This is going to be one about Section 8. I worked in the field of Section 8 from a federal capacity. I would hop from state to state doing audits. And during the audit, I start with the people with zero income because there's no way you can live with zero income, and even if you're on Section 8, not for 20 years. Whew. One of these decided that they were going to be on Section 8 for over 20 plus years with zero income listed. Well, if you know, you know. You can't live on zero income, number one. Number two is they do two things: pull your credit report and then pull your income report. When I matched up the two, she had a Department of Education loan. Flag number one. Flag number two, throughout this process, she'd had two children on zero income. Flag number two. Then Sister Girl at one point in time worked for a property management company, only a couple of weeks, but then that was a flag number three for me. So she decided that she was going to play the game of zero income while living on Section 8 for over 20 plus years and claiming zero income. The Department of Education note that was on her credit report was for a degree, registered nurse. She was a registered nurse in NICU. She'd been one for a while. She took her properties that she purchased one at a time in whoever's name, put them on a property management company, had the property management company listing these properties. Well, one of the houses she lived in, one of the houses her daughter lived in, and one of the houses her son lived in. She'd done a real good turn of events, but that audit kicked her out because she claimed zero income the entire time. So not only did she owe rent, her son owed rent, and her daughter owed rent. She transferred Section 8 vouchers to the two kids as they aged out of the program so that they would have their own Section 8 voucher. The long and short of it is, everybody who came in during the term of that audit, I would calculate in dollar amounts till I can get to a felony. They had a choice. They could either pay back a portion of the money right then and go on to what they call a subsequent payment plan, or there was a sheriff outside, because once you reach a $25,000 cap, Fed wants their money back. They don't give two shits. You're going to get a charge before you walk out of that building. She thought I was a nobody. What was this? Yeah, she right. I was a nobody that filed a federal charge against her, her son, and her daughter. And that money came back to the federal government in place of her stealing for over 20 years with zero income living on Section 8. If you know, you know. Every program comes with a hitch or a hang-up. It's just a matter of time before somebody catches up to you.
Wow, that sounds crazy. It sounds like did I hear that right? It sounds like you can will your Section 8 to your kids as they become adults. Like, oh my God, that is crazy. And then she ends up becoming a registered nurse, having three properties all funded by Section 8 or whatever. I hope I heard that wrong. That sounds like something else.
Okay, so I don't know if y'all have heard about these landlords that are getting these Section 8 clients and then charging them for amenities such as a ceiling fan or a storm door is considered an amenity. Now, here's how they're loopholing this. Basically, to get your unit or your house or whatever you're using as your Section 8 to qualify, you don't need these things. So in essence, they get the voucher or whatever, and then they charge these people for like a subscription or just the use of a screen door or the use of a ceiling fan. And it's like one dude, I'm not gonna put his name up here, but he's like, he charges like he makes like $45,000. And like I said, there's a loophole. He's literally exploiting the poor. And it's like, this is why we should not have allowed private landlords to receive vouchers. It's like the government was just like, hey, you know, we can't build enough housing fast enough, or we won't build enough housing fast enough, so we're going to let private landlords do this. And then they're allowing this. Why has this not been closed up? Like, it's already hard enough to be poor. Like, again, if you've seen one of my videos beforehand over how I, you know, assisted a young mom in getting her rent paid and all the hoops and hurdles that I went through to get this paid. Like, I literally had to pay. Literally. And you're out here, you know, charging people to use a fucking ceiling fan?
See, you hear this, right? And you think, oh my God, you are so true. Rich people are just the worst, right? And then you slowly start to realize a lot of these landlords aren't rich. And a lot of these tenants end up destroying the person's house to the point where after I've seen those first couple videos, I'm okay with them charging you anything for anything they want. Landlords, as far as I'm concerned, if I were king, I would be on your side. The tenants in these cases are awful. Look at the way she lives. You see behind her, she is very, very clean. She is very, very well-to-do. You can just tell she would never in a million years want Section 8 housing to be living in. She would never want to rent out her house for Section 8. I'm just telling you. So whenever you hear a side of the story and you think, yeah, that sounds right, do your due diligence and hear the other side of the story. Nobody in a million years deserves what these landlords have had to go through.
So I am like authentically asking, how are you supposed to find apartments? I'm really low income because I'm disabled and I'm currently applying for SSI, but if you are at all familiar with that process, you know it takes forever and you always get denied, and it's really, really, really difficult. I have a housing voucher, a Section 8 voucher that I fought to get for years, and I have been looking for an apartment since last August, and I still can't find anywhere. I've put in so many applications, I have spent so much money, and I still can't find anywhere. When I think I finally got something, it's a scam every single time. I had to move from the city that I lived in for years in order to try and find somewhere else. I thought it would be more affordable in a more rural area, and I still am having trouble finding anything. The only rental history I have with a slumlord who I had to take to court because he wouldn't do anything about the cockroaches or in all these.
See, okay, cockroaches are usually in a house for a reason. It's because you're not taking out your trash and you're not being clean. Yes, if you live in an apartment with a bunch of other neighbors, there's a chance they could be coming from your neighbors. But I can tell just by the way this guy is hiding everything behind him. And even if you can take a glimpse at the stuff behind him, I can guarantee you this person is kind of dirty. I bet their apartment smells. I bet they have 3 or 4 cats and 2 or 3 gerbils. I'm telling you, they are probably a big reason why they had cockroaches, and you can hate me if you want, but I'm telling you, I can tell a phony person when I see them. This guy is phony.
When I first heard of Section 8 and public assistance, it sounded like I hit the jackpot. Like, I'm finally here. I finally get to live a good life, rent free. I get to keep my money in my pocket because I get my rent paid. Little did I know that it would ruin my life. I got Section 8 after I had my second child. I applied to all these wait lists and I finally got it. And I got to choose the neighborhood I wanted to live in. I got to pick the house that I wanted to live in as long as it fit the budget. I got to choose how many bedrooms that I got. It was so wonderful. At that time, I didn't know that my then boyfriend, who already had a felony, would not be able to live with me anymore. So now, us living together had to be a secret. When it was time for inspection, I was hiding his shoes and hiding his clothes and hiding his belongings so that they wouldn't know that there was a man living with me, which caused tension. It caused, some resentment, But at that time, I didn't know how it was causing a separation between us.
Well, that seems like something where Section 8 should say, okay, let your man move in the house, but now instead of $1,500 or whatever they pay, we're only going to pay 700. He can pay the difference.
You hear a knock at the door, and you wondered if it's management or maintenance or somebody who gonna see him there. So again, we would hide and sneak around and make it seem like, he didn't live there. And then it became one of those things that you don't live here. You can't even be on a lease. Not seeing how it would later on tear our family apart in many ways.
So a lot of times you'll hear guys bitching and moaning about this very thing that she's talking about. When a woman decides that I'm going to be reliant on the government, it ends up making it where there's no need for the man, and it's easier to maintain your benefits if the man's not in the picture. It's a trap. It's a bad thing. There is no such thing as a free lunch in this country, and we need to quit looking at the guy that's successful and investing his money in properties as this horrible scoundrel, because what you don't see is videos like this where their house ends up getting shit in, literally. Speaking of which, I love watching videos with you guys. I hope you guys come back tomorrow. I'll find more. I'll see you then.